I would like you to take us through some of the immediate concerns that you as a brand are facing at the moment.
Almost from the brand perspective, what we concerns is where we need to have a collaboration with the retailers as well as with the small owners and everyone, all the three stakeholders, the brands, the retailers as well as the landlords. That is what is the way forward for us. But what happened in China after the SARS, everything was got clear. Alibaba, it gave rise to people like Alibaba, where the similarly, I expect a lot of increase on the e-commerce side. We have been kind of dialoguing with our partners, the Amazon and the Walmart, and also the Reliance Jio, which is also going to be launched in this year. We have been having a lot of conversation with them, and basic idea is how to make it convenient for the buyer, for the consumers. Make it so convenient for them, like easy for them to, easy for returns, easy for this thing. The lockdown gets opened, we will try the omni-channel also. There is a scope of omni-channel business also flourishing in India. So there are challenges, there are a lot of opportunities too. There are two things which will emerge. You will find the strong brands come back stronger. So this is what we feel, being a 200-year-old brand, from our perspective, we will emerge stronger. This is being an authenticity are going to be the key words going forward.
The question is, who do you think will be hit harder? Big brands, mid-sized brands, or small brands?
In the short term, I think everybody is hit. But in the longer term, usually the bigger brands have the staying power, and the medium brands are the ones I think that will get squeezed out for like practically a disruption of business for about a year or so. They will have a tough time financially surviving.
This kids market, which is essentially a low price market, traditionally has been sort of dominated either by the unorganized sector or has been dependent on the imports, or then some large biggies which also do a lot of school shoe. Now, over the past few years, you've created a unique proposition in the mid segment by having Happy Feet, right? And you also have a manufacturing base. Practically everything is in-house. Now, somebody who's in that kind of domain, what kind of challenges do you envisage for yourself, since you represent both the brand side and the manufacturing side? And what are you going to be doing to mitigate or minimize all those risk factors, which could also be common to some of the other manufacturing brands also? Just share your thoughts with us.
So the first and the foremost issue will be how to restart your business. And restarting, it's all about money. So the cash flow will be the biggest challenge for us, all the manufacturers or the retailers. Starting from cash flow to managing the team will not be an easy hassle for anybody. Once the lockdown opens, many guys will be running home, the senior staff or the junior staff, either to cities or to villages. So getting your team is one of the biggest challenges. Second will be the client, as I told, processing of orders. Are we getting orders? Are we selling from our stocks? Are we getting fresh orders? Then if we're getting fresh orders, then to manufacture them. So the supply chain management is one issue. The team is one issue. And the biggest issue will be cash flow. Or everybody will have to be supported by the government. And when I'm talking of government funding, I'm not talking of a 12% interest. I'm talking of a 3 to 4% interest annually, kind of a support from the government for at least 6 to 8 months to the industry. But the mid segment, especially the kind of segments we are into, the price point necessity segment, this will definitely come back.
Say that 2020 may be a little tough for all of us,
Yeah.
but 2021 will be a very big year for India. We'll get a lot of orders from exports also, because people will definitely prefer India-made goods, because see, the way we have handled this problem, I think nobody in the world has handled it. So I think 2021 should be a good year for us. That's
All right. Wonderful.
Thank you, Mr.
That's a lot of encouragement for all of us. Bobo? Now, there are a lot of challenges that the retail sector is going to be facing and is already facing. There is a huge case of demand contraction. There's also a huge issue, how do we generate demand? That's one side of the story. But also, when it comes to the retail partners, they have their own set of challenges also. Let me bring in few famed names. टीम का मोराल कैसा है सर? सबको आप लोग हायर रखेंगे, कैसे करेंगे इनको, कैसे मैनेज करेंगे इतनी बड़ी टीम को सर आप?
है रखेंगे, लेकिन अभी क्या है कि कुछ लोग जो अभी सैलरी हम लोग 50% करेंगे, ऐसा उनको बोलेंगे तो वो लोग अग्री नहीं करेंगे, तो वो लोग चले जाएंगे. They will go out. So that will be better for us economically. क्योंकि हमको भी कम आदमी चाहिए अभी. The other 6-8 months we don't see that market is going up.
Okay.
For the large stores, those who are having 100 stores, 200 stores, that will be the problem.
Now,
Yes.
you are one large, huge retailer, inspirational retailer, who's selling mass products, low price items, mid price items, brands, huge space, all of that put together. Is there going to be a shift towards the mid size brands, towards the low price items? Because आपके यहाँ खास बात ये भी है, any customer who walks in typically ends up buying couple of products. कोई भी एक लेके जाता नहीं है. They come and buy multiple products, multiple pairs. क्या लगता है आने वाले टाइम में? How do you think this panning out? क्या लगेगा सर? क्या होना चाहिए?
नहीं हो रहेगा, नंबर्स कम हो जाएंगे, लेकिन ये दोनों का शेयरिंग बराबर रहेगा. मतलब वॉल्यूम तो कम होगा, लेकिन जो मिड सेगमेंट है वो बराबर रहेगा, और जो लो सेगमेंट है वो भी रहेगा. जो अपर सेगमेंट है, देखिए जिसको आदत है 4,000 3,000 का जूता पहनने की, वो सस्ता नहीं रहेगा, उनके वॉल्यूम कम हो जाएगा, तो नंबर्स है वो कम होंगे. तो हमको थोड़ा सा कॉशियस रहना पड़ेगा आगे. सब कुछ नॉर्मल होता है, लेकिन अभी जैसे हम लोग देखते हैं जो स्टॉक्स होल्ड करके रखे हैं, उसमें से कैसा लिक्विडेट करना है. और सभी कस्टमर्स जो हम लोग देते थे सालों से, हमने मतलब 53 इयर्स से मेरी फुटवेयर का बिजनेस में एक्सपीरियंस है, मैंने ऐसा चैलेंजिंग टाइम नहीं देखा. जब कर्फ्यू होता था तो 2 घंटे के लिए दुकान हम खोलते थे, तो 2 घंटे में भी हमारी दुकान फुल हो जाती थी. कस्टमर रश होते थे कि चप्पल दो, मतलब ऐसा जैसा राशन की दुकान में आप जब देखते हैं, उससे ज्यादा भीड़ हमारे पास रहती थी. और 2 घंटे के बाद जैसा खत्म हुआ, सब लोग बाहर निकल आते थे. तो मतलब वो सीन नहीं होने वाला है. लोग हेल्थ सेफ्टी पहले देखेंगे कि अपना मेरे बाजू कोई नहीं बैठना, इतने डिस्टेंस पे बैठना है. इतना गवर्नमेंट अभी नॉर्म्स बनाएंगी कि इतने कस्टमर्स को अलाउ करो, इतने लोगों को अलाउ करो, आप अपनी कैपेसिटी के हिसाब से सब चीज आएगी बीच में. वो हमको मेन इंपॉर्टेंट रहेगा. क्या अभी उनका है गवर्नमेंट का सेफ्टी के लिए, स्टाफ की सेफ्टी, उसको कैसा मैनेज करेंगे हम, वो सब कंसर्न है.
Imran, challenging times, right? I just spoke about the demand contraction and the demand generation. A very, very important component of the retail going forward as it is also the merchandise mix. Now, you are one big retailer, chain of actual retail stores that you have, wherein the entire merchandise mix is planned very diligently, between your private label to the brands to a lot of imports that you do. How do you see all of that changing now? Is it going to be the case that to have a unit economics right? You're going to be shifting a merchandise mix is going to be skewed towards your private labels just to have your things correct?
Almost all the experts are finding it very difficult to predict what's going to happen to the consumer behavior. There's going to be a shift. There's going to be a massive change in the way people are living, and everyone agrees that this is a turning point of some sort for the world. But it's very hard to predict what that change is going to be. Plan my merchandise mix at this point, or to think of changes, would be way too early and way too premature. All that can happen only once business starts again. Even when it does start, I think we have to look at this as a two-part problem. One is, of course, the first 6 to 9 months, which is going to be more of getting rid of your old stocks and trying to clear up some inventory and try and plan what's going to happen in the first 6 to 9 months. The consumers also will be a lot more aware of the social distancing norms, of the hygiene factors, of going out to stores to buy. So the first 9 months, I think, will be very different. 2021 post would be kind of a different shift as well. So in any way whatsoever, we'll still keep working with brands. In the short term, I think price will also play a big role. I think people will be a lot more conservative in the way they spend, and we'll all see a lot of discounting from the big boxes, from the large e-commerce players, from all the brands. So there's going to be massive discounting to get rid of the stock. So
Imran, I was speaking to a few international customer buyers,
Mhm.
what they are doing is they're making multiple scenarios, breaking down your customer, styling, age groups, class, and cash is the king. So they'll go very slow, but they're making multiple scenarios how they'll go ahead.
I think that's important. I mean, this is a time when we're all sitting at home, so the only thing we can do is planning. That's something that even we're sitting and doing pretty much every day, or that's the only thing that we can do.
Right.
But a lot of the planning is going, like you said, in the cash conservation and trying to see what we're going to do in the next 6 months or 6 to 9 months. How do you conserve cash? What kind of businesses do we see coming in after 3 months? Because nothing's going to come in for 3 months for sure. Even after that, from the July quarter, we see not more than maybe 20% business coming in, 20-25% at the most. The real customer will not start coming out, according to us. And the most likely scenario that we've created is around Diwali time. Hopefully, Diwali will be that trigger that gets people to start coming out again and start.
Akash, again, same thing. You are one chain who have independent stores, standalone stores, also in malls. We've spoken about the possible demand or request on the rental waivers also, those challenges also. But then the other challenges also, which you as a very senior retailer have been facing or typically are into, which is pre-bookings, from wherever, be it from India, from overseas, and then the OTB challenges, cash flow challenges. So if one was to sum up, what could be these key challenges that you see going forward for the next 3 months for the benefit of the entire industry? Kindly share your insights with us.
We had various meetings, with brands like Adidas and Puma. So what in general they are also doing, they are taking, our concurrence. Everyone will be facing the demand contraction. What everyone is coming up, the numbers are very staggering, very alarming. So it is between 30 to 50% reduction of AW20 buys.
Kindly do it. Amit, if you
I just
want to
wanted to share. I read that Flipkart, Amazon, they are planning a big sale somewhere around mid-May. They have already connected with a lot of brands.
Pointed out that e-com will be a big opportunity. But the main concern as on today that footwear is not an essential commodity. So the warehouses are not open, to dispatch any of the orders which is already under cart or, people have shortlisted. So it all depends upon the government norms, when they will allow, and then, the things will start moving up. Heaven is not going to fall, if you have less number of shirts or shoes, people will first try to conserve cash and the food essential. Days are not very bright ahead for all of us, but yes, if we could plan our inventories very tightly, if we can preserve cash and focus on an omni opportunity, then we can hedge to a certain extent.
Right. So, but what I feel when these guys go on sale, the psyche of this country is they want to fall for discounts and freebies.
Right.
They might ignore everything and they might still go ahead to shop only for discounts. Now, that is going to hurt everybody, the brands, retailers, except the e-com guys.
So for brick and mortar, it's very, very tough.
But you, as a company, have you started working on numbers of what you'll negotiate?
Yeah.
Malls, what you'll negotiate with the brands?
So there are three scenarios with brands. Since it's not the time to discuss commercial, it's basically to readjust the OTBs so that whatever we have committed, we should honor those numbers. For the malls, there are three situations where we are working. Where is one what we had labeled it as optimistic, the realistic, and the pessimistic. So by the time we are talking, the optimistic situation is out. So the next situation what we had taken is that realistic, where we were planning that by mid-May we'll be able to open the stores and we will be able to generate a revenue of 50% of our initial numbers. So for this financial year, Q1 we were taking it as just a 30% of achievement. Q2 we were taking at 60% and Q3 80 and then Q4 is 100. We all need to preserve cash, so we are looking at giving up our warehouse spaces so that at least some kind of cash can be preserved on that side.
So, Mr. Kuldeep, it's apparent that quite a lot of manufacturers in India have been sourcing from China. how you as a manufacturer can try to reduce this dependence?
Yes, China has been a very big part in our lives, in our productions, because without China, we talk about any raw material. Definitely, we are able to procure better material at better prices from China. And all above, the players who were working in India and were producing or manufacturing here in India, and they have shifted their things to China. They are happy to import from China and then sell to us rather than producing it in India. So lockdown, when China was locked down, I should personally, I'm talking about myself, my factory. So when China, we heard about the China lockdown, we were already aware that we will not be able to get the material supply properly. So we bought a huge material from the Delhi and Agra itself wholesalers. But now once the lockdown has happened in Agra itself, I think everything is in vain now. All our money is gone away. And if China doesn't comes out with their production things and all, definitely will the manufacturing is going to hamper for sure, because
Yeah.
that's for sure. And above all, we are just because all of us are into domestic market. Most of the things, as someone said now also, ki the ASP which is being most sold in India is below 1,000, and below 1,000 ASPs MRPs cannot be sold in leather. And the good PU upper is not in India. We have to go to China. We are like uh, put down on knees to have to buy from China. It's like this. So if the China doesn't comes out from its lockdown and starts its production, we will not be able to do things in a proper way. The manufacturing is going to hamper for sure.
Things are apparently different. And given this, you as a manufacturer, uh, how would you, or like what things do you need to have in place to make your manufacturing units more competitive?
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल कि जो भी टैक्सेस हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल कि जीएसटी हमारी 18% है शूज के ऊपर, जो महंगा 1,000 रुपए के ऊपर है, गवर्नमेंट को एक साल के लिए कम से कम उसकी जीएसटी 5% करनी चाहिए. सेकंड वन, जो भी स्लैब है इनकम टैक्स की, गवर्नमेंट को वो स्लैब कम करनी चाहिए. जो 30% के उसमें आते हैं उनको 20% पे आना चाहिए एक साल के लिए, और 20% वाले को 10% पे गवर्नमेंट को करना चाहिए, क्योंकि विदाउट गवर्नमेंट सपोर्ट हम इस चीज से नहीं निकल सकते. थर्ड वन, जो भी अभी जो टैक्सेस पे कर रहे हैं, ईएसआई पीएफ पे कर रहे हैं हम, उसका भी कोई एक साल के लिए गवर्नमेंट को वो कम करना चाहिए. रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट बैंकर्स का कम होना चाहिए. फॉर एग्जांपल कि 9.25% है ऑन द जो भी आपके लिमिट्स हैं, उस लिमिट्स का गवर्नमेंट को चाहिए कि एक साल के लिए वो बैंक से बात करके वो चीज को 6%, 6.5% पे लेके आए, ताकि जो भी रिड्यूस हो कॉस्ट वो सारी रिटेलर्स को पास करे, कस्टमर को पास करे, ताकि कस्टमर उस चीज को सस्ता खरीद सके एक साल के लिए. हम सबको मिलके काम करना है, देश को आगे लाना है. देश को आगे लाने के लिए आज पूरा वर्ल्ड, मैं बात कर रहा हूं 2021 तक के लिए, सबकी निगाहें इंडिया के ऊपर हैं. हमारी स्ट्रेंथ सबकी ये काम करेगी, पॉजिटिव एनर्जी रखनी हम सबको, और सबसे गवर्नमेंट का सपोर्ट करना चाहिए. वो हरासमेंट नहीं होनी चाहिए. एक साल तक मैन्युफैक्चरर्स, रिटेलर्स, होलसेलर्स की हरासमेंट नहीं होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि जो भी, मैं शू इंडस्ट्री से बिलोंग करता हूं, तो क्योंकि हमारा जूता लोग सबसे बाद में पहनेंगे, बाकी जो नीडी चीजें हैं वो लेंगे लोग, बाकी सब चीजें बाद में लेंगे. इसलिए जो जिसकी डिमांड है, जो चीजें डिमांड में आएंगी उसकी प्राइस आप बढ़ा दीजिए. पेट्रोल, सिगरेट, वाइन, इन सब का प्राइसेस बढ़ा दीजिए, और जो चीजें नहीं बिकने वाली हैं पता है उसका प्राइसेस कम हो जाना चाहिए, उसके टैक्सेस कम हो जाने चाहिए.
So we did a little research survey of the market, both international and national, and we realized that almost 80-85% of the footwear is synthetic or textile today. So are factories thinking of going on to those lines now, of changing? That's where China has scored all these years.
Most of the manufacturers there are all MSMEs. And, apart from getting swaps from the government for lesser taxes and everything, that will give us an opportunity to sustain for the next 1 year, right? I think the immediate requirement to get the economy spurred up is get loans from the banks, because I think most of them, everybody is almost leveraged. And what happens is that you want to start, so let's say tomorrow the factory is open, everything sort of gets sorted out, we adhere to the new social norms in factories, keeping our 2 feet distances, and we start the production. The first thing is going to be that the suppliers are going to come to us and say, okay, you need more materials, please pay us. And we are going to go to our customers and we're going to tell them, please pay us. And everybody is kind of in a fix because there is no funding that's coming through. So I think that one of the key factors that the banks can play a role here is to provide ad hoc limits. So I think one of the limits set currently is 10% of your sanction limits. The bank is immediately going to pay. I think that 10%, if it goes to 25% or 30% for every manufacturer. So if you get a 1.5, 2 CR availability from your current banker, it will give you enough to be able to. So it's a chain. You pay your supplier, your customer starts paying you, and the business starts spurring into action. So I think that is one of the key factors here is about the availability of finance from the banks. And I can tell you that I've been in touch with our bankers, for instance, HDFC, and they've already started with ad hoc limit of 10% over your sanction limits. And there is a hue and cry by the industry, by FICCI and by CAI to take the 10% to 25%. With so banks will have to alleviate their norms. So if the collateral now is, let's say, 80% of the collateral, will have to go to 120% of the collateral. So there's funds available in people's hands, in manufacturers' hands, so that the manufacturing process can start. But at the end of the day, also human race is very resilient. We will find a way. We'll find a way of manufacturing. Consumers will find a way to buy. Common sense says that today footwear purchases will be the last ones for people to have, but there are consumers of all kinds in this world who would also buy. And then there's a younger generation. I can talk about my own son at 20 years. He's kind of cocooned by this whole issue. I mean, he's at home watching videos, waiting for his college to open, and the moment e-commerce starts, he'll be the first one to want his new pair of shoes. Ki chalo yaar kuch karte hain. People will find that as a conduit to get out. So human race is resilient. I think it will happen. And I think for manufacturers, the important thing is to get more liquidity, to get some funding from the government. Whether obviously we have to be channeled through the banks. And once that happens, I think we should be able to spur back into production.
No, I completely agree with you. I believe we are all social animals. We love to socialize. So once first announcement comes, we've eradicated the disease, you should expect a lot of customers to come out in the market, especially the youngsters. 40 plus might be a little sensitive, but I believe youngsters would come to the malls, markets. You'll see them at concerts and even theaters.
And I also think
Amit, there's another thing, if I might just interject. The young people will come out, but you have to realize that the young people now will get a lot more aware of their savings than they were before, because they've never really seen a time like this. So after going through a time when their jobs are going to be at risk and there's going to be salary cuts or whatever, I think they'll come out of this. I mean, that's one interpretation, that they'll come out of this being a little more aware of their savings rather than spending their entire salary, which they've been used to for so long.
So, with all it means is that the business model may have to be rewired, some bit rewired, some bit reoriented, looks like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you represent Pro, a fantastic brand which is majorly into shoe accessories, just not polishes, but there's so much that goes into it. Now, in the good times, when the sales of the footwear, the base footwear is going to be low, expected to be low at least for this a quarter or two, if not more. Yeah. Now, this is going to be directly impacting the sort of throughput that you will be expecting out of your business. That being the case, how are you planning to strategize your business, and how do you then mitigate any risk, or have you actually reworked on your numbers for the entire year? So, what have been your thoughts given the current challenges?
Okay, few things that I would like to say. One is on a general perspective, my take is that how everybody gets communicated about coronavirus. Now, when this will end, whenever it will end, if it gets communicated as it is lingering around, this is still in the air, then your demand will fall like rain coming down from the sky. It is not going to go up. But if the communication goes out that this has vanished, This has gone away, it is not coming back, or it is not there in the air anymore, consumers will start to come back to the market. So how we get communicated about it is very, very important. Even if there is a small bit of scare left in the market, the scare will get extended to every consumer's life. The second thing is, how are we going to behave as a society? Well, we know most of us as Indians have two tendencies. One tendency is to look the easy way. So for everything, like one of our panelists also said, go to China. Anytime there is an availability of a cheaper material, go to China. If there is a trader giving you 10 rupees less from China, we have to as a society say no. Can we stop and can we say if it is a manufacturer from India, can we buy from them? We have a habit of holding on to payments. Most of our retailers, most of our large chains have this as a peculiar habit of delaying payments. Now, with this cash is the new gold motto that is going around in everybody's head, everybody is going to hold on to even more cash for meeting their own needs, which means there is a grave danger of the entire supply chain of money breaking down if we behave as individuals and not as society. We have to learn to release the funds. If the farmer will not release the seeds into the soil, there is going to be no crop. And unfortunately, we believe in keeping the seeds inside of a room and thinking it will grow. This mentality needs to change. We are asking for the banks to be liberal, the government to be liberal, but we will revise it to Q1 becoming virtually zero, Q2 and Q3 seeing some recovery. So we will make bundle offers. We will try and promote it, our products to with the shoes as private labels or as co-branded. We are thinking of various strategies how to tell a consumer that when he's back into the market, go back with some confidence. But we will take a hit, that is definite. On the company side, we are maintaining that we are not removing any employee, but we are giving them a salary cut because without that we cannot survive.
That you are managing a very, very important domain, which is about the molds and the soles, right? Am I right? Now, there's so much that gets into the sole making. There's so much that you need in terms of components from overseas, right? Now, given the current scenario and the available capacities, let's say in India, how much of you really expect to happen in India? How much of, let's say, your domain in totality can be managed out of India? Because in many ways, it's going to be helpful to the industry in terms of the job generation, in terms of the value creation, in terms of the money circulation, in terms of the supply chain also. Things could be faster. So you think there is a fair chance of that happening going forward now?
Yeah, because we have been experiencing this shift, in fact, from last 3 months already. The moment this coronavirus started in China in the month of January, we have a lot of overseas customers who started shifting molds and production to India. In fact, Geox was one of the first overseas brands which shifted quite a lot of production to India, and they already started planning for next winter production. All the molds shifted to India. Even in this situation where Italy is in very bad shape, we are talking to them on day-to-day basis, and they are preparing in a big way for the next winter because they have already lost the summer, but they do not want to lose the winter season. So what I feel is that two factors we have missed here is number one is our farm income. In spite of all this crisis, our farm income is not going down. So our agriculture production will be good and a lot of farmers are having enough money to spend. Secondly, our middle class, there was a lot of money which was spent on holiday and tourism. I think we have this budget spare, which of all of us in the industry work together and take this portion of the wallet of the consumer. We can get a lot of consumers to take this share towards shopping and buying. So I think we have to be innovative in attracting the customers, making him feel more comfortable either by e-commerce or by home deliveries. Because yesterday itself, for example, first time I heard that Starbucks is delivering home.
Yeah.
So this is a new approach to business. And the third point is the cash flow, which financing and cash flow in the business, because most of the business is already leveraged. So the banks and the individual parties have to put in their best efforts and collaborate with each other so that we see that this chain is running smoothly.
In fact, Manojji, you're bang on right. The changing sentiments of American and the European buyers are more positive towards India. In fact, I had a chat with the chairman of FDRA in the US. A huge opportunity for India market from automated 21 onwards. And it's up to the factories and up to the Indian exporters to take the challenge forward. Definitely, a lot of component shift will happen to India. A lot of production shift will happen to India.
What are the challenges that you see for yourself and for your distribution entity? क्या लगता है?
That we have to maintain the relationship with the retail network. Very human approach. We simultaneously cannot ask them for a backheld payments simultaneously. Together, we have to put them new supplies, the new ranges, the summer launches, status quo of the employees that they should always remain in a good health, and simultaneously the financial position of our workers are also not on a imaging, because they have always supported us for the last 25 years. We see that we also require certain commitments and support from the brand and as well as the financial institutions like banks and others. It has to be a collective approach because it can't be a one-sided approach. Yeah. We are here to support our retail and simultaneously we are ready to face the challenges also for the brand, because we know that, as Amit mentioned, that we are into e-com also. So Flipkart, Amazon, everybody, as soon as the lockdown period is over or there are going to be a huge discounts in the market, and that's again going to disturb a little bit of the scenario for the retailers and the wholesalers who are going to maintain the balance. So yes, it's a tough job, but as we are all in constant touch with our brands also, so we are planning to have some plan A, B. Let's see that what is the best we can implement on a month-to-month basis.
Having said that, I think Indian economy is 75-80% essential and maybe 20-25% discretionary. And our products typically fall in the category of discretionary. So I foresee a big hit which will happen to this industry in at least for 2 quarters. So I'm looking at about 50% less demand or contraction of business. And second is, and this is going to happen, so the key thing over here is how to liquidate your stock, with brands planning to go aggressively on discount mode immediately when market opens. I mean, there will be panic discounting done by all brands. This is what my guess is. So it will destroy the entire channel. And as Subinderji has put it, so that calls for some kind of pump priming. And pump priming, I think, will have to be done by bank to all partners in the supply chain, right from the supplier until the retailer. So until the pump priming is happening, till the last connecting mile of retailer, I don't think we'll be out of it, because if money is stuck somewhere, we'll all be in trouble. So this is unprecedented time, no doubt about that, and calls for unprecedented measures. And as everyone has said very, very correctly, cash is the king. But cash is the king from how do you bring it? So I think I'll go by what Subinderji has already suggested. Do pump priming. Banks should lend us. Or else I don't see any help coming from government, because government is already saddled with so many issues and they'll have to look more towards the essential part of the economy than the discretionary part. And even in discretionary, a big chunk is spent on marriages, which is out until November. I think so.
Gulati ji, you represent the Delhi Wholesaler Footwear Wholesalers Association, a very powerful body, and there must have been series of thoughts at your end also. So what is your sort of message to the industry? What is your message to the authorities?
The main issue is the cash. Either government will have to support, or chain has to go reverse way. And retailer will have to make a prompt payment to the wholesaler or the distributor, whosoever it is. Then finally it is coming to the manufacturer. And then to the raw material. Now the cash crunch, which is going to hit now for the last few months, not even, it can go beyond a year also. चाहे वो रिटेलर हो, होलसेलर हो, मैन्युफैक्चरर हो, जब तक आपके पास कैश नहीं होगा, आपकी इंडस्ट्री नहीं चल सकती. वेदर इट्स ए फुटवेयर इंडस्ट्री, और इट्स ए टॉय इंडस्ट्री, और इट्स ए गारमेंट्स इंडस्ट्री. सभी इंडस्ट्री जो आप डिपेंड करेंगी, वो सब कैश फ्लो के ऊपर डिपेंड करेगी, और गवर्नमेंट विल हैव ए बिग रोल इन दैट. अभी मैं सुन रहा था, कह रहे थे कि गवर्नमेंट के पास पैसा नहीं है. गवर्नमेंट हैज गॉट एवरीथिंग दे कैन सपोर्ट. वी आर आस्किंग टू गिव अस एट लो इंटरेस्ट रेट्स.
without asking for the documentation, big documentation, then we'll give you a loan. That should not be there. Government should be lenient. They should provide loans to everybody, whether it's a retailer, or it's a wholesaler, or it's a manufacturer. To revive this economy, cash is the most important factor.
And so any industry specific best practices that you can suggest?
That sitting at home for 3 months, moment the activity starts, people would love to go back. But I tell you one thing, they would not love to go back to theaters. They would not love to go back to the restaurants. Coming to apparel sector and footwear sector, we used to believe in lifestyle, fashion and all that. Even a middle class guy would love to buy anything which new comes in. That time is gone. Because there is a scarcity of cash. People would not like to buy the product in these uncertain circumstances where the 50% of the people are going to lose the jobs, 25% of the people are going to get less salaries.
This situation is probably a U curve. Things will not be recovering pretty fast, which normally happens in a V curve. The business model will evolve in a different way. Probably the business is going to be done with social distancing as on the prime front. The number of people who will be allowed to enter a retail chain could be limited, or probably there will be a sanitization zone in front of mall, or there will be a sanitization zone in front of a large format store, so that the risk is reduced. And obviously, this will also give a lot of opportunity for new business channels. Like one of the things which I see a big opportunity in wholesale would be B2B wholesale, because for a retailer to come down to distributor, salesman traveling to retailer is going to be limited. So probably one of the big opportunities for companies like Udan or Reliance B2B would be starting reaching out to more number of retailers to start selling merchandise to them. So I would say broadly 3 areas where we'll have to be very, very careful and we'll have to evolve new strategies. One is the liquidity, number two is the supply chain, and third is the new channels of doing business.
Uh, the one other area that is to be added is in the efficiency. You will find a large amount of digitization taking place, whether it's B2C or B2B. And this is the time where a lot of new business models of direct to customer will start gaining traction.
Marketing strategies have to be for brands in the post-lockdown scenario, and how significant the role of e-commerce will be in this.
This long period of hibernation for brands on the shelves is going to really change loyalties of consumers. They will be used to exploring new options. They will be used to exploring new styles. So what do you do in this situation? Very simply, like in every other part of life, it is always about who was with me when things turned bad. So this is not the time to stop communication. This is the time to increase communication. This is the time to reach out to our customers more and more. Whether you are a B2B person or you are a B2C brand, in both situations it is important to first empathize and then reassure. Build and reassure the fact that you are available to him and will be with him as things go better, and you will be the first to be able to serve him. That reassurance is going to be one of the factors which consumers will be looking at as they start going back to normal purchasing habits and look at working with companies and brands and products which stood with them during this trying time. The key question here is everybody is just not looking for coronavirus, stay safe, stay home messages. We are all sick of them. I am looking at resuming my normal life. So all of us are looking at resuming normal things. So brand communication about products and services, reassuring consumers that we are available for them is going to be very important. However, because their attention is very, very available to us, we should not be seen as taking advantage. So the messaging and communication with the customer has to be very, very sensitive.
For sure, it's going to be a bumpy road ahead, and all of us need to plan, tackle major issues. So, as a consumer, I feel once things settle down, 3 months, 6 months from now, things will be back into place. It's only this period where the industry needs to really hold hands and work together, move together. This is not the time to break your partnerships or push out your vendors or fight with your mall locations. This is a time to hold hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
very
you,
true,
Amit.
Amit. Yeah, please, Vikas.
Amit has given us quite a few quickly, some of the fashion tips that he's going to be looking forward to. Wonderful, Amit. You've been known for your pointed shoes, so thank you so much. Now, which is that we all been hearing of manufacturers and distributors and other associates also looking at some other co-connected or otherwise utilize the facility and to basically tide over the short-term crisis, cash or otherwise. And I would know people, and so would all of you, have also got into healthcare, masks, sanitizers, right? And to obviously augment their sort of utilize their labor and augment their money supply and incomes. So, any of you also think those ways? Is it more of a hearsay, or has that sort of shift already started happening? And have any of those footwear manufacturers have you got into it or looking seriously into it?
We've been talking to a few corporates also, and local political parties also, who have released orders of masks and other instruments which are required during this time. They personally asked me because I work inside the prison, so per se, one of the safest places to work right now because my labor is already inside. Lucky for me, but in that case, what has also come to light is that making masks is one of the easiest things to do in terms of making it with, say, cloth or textile, and the government right now is promoting khadi. And a few khadi brands and vendors have gotten in touch with me saying that we will supply the material to you. Why don't you use your machines? We have about 150 to 200 stitching machines, which we will put into use to make masks. And these orders are facilitated by the government. A few investor groups are already ready to fund the purchase orders. And I think that is a great way of utilizing the labor, as long as the idea of the capital rotation which comes in from investors also, and the orders are fixed. And I have also gotten plans from the government saying that we are going to make it compulsory for all government employees to wear masks all the time. And so that could potentially be a huge number and huge quantity, which we can easily make in any factory who has stitching capabilities.
Thank you so much.
Oh, fantastic. I'll just like to add out because I read somewhere that Louis Vuitton has dedicated one of its perfume factories to make hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
There are a couple of distilleries who started making hand sanitizers. Indian designers have started already making masks. So Anita Dongre, Ritu Kumar, all these people have already started working on. How do you see? Would you be scaling up your sourcing out of India? I'm sure you're buying far more bigger quantities from China, Malaysia, than whatever. Do you see? Would there be is the company? Is Astor Muller looking at us in a bigger way?
See, Amit, we've always been pro-India. In 2008, when Clarks and Geox left India, we moved our operation from Vietnam to India. Okay, we have been very pro-India, and I think now that most of the leather shoe manufacturing countries are affected, like Italy, Spain, Portugal. Portugal is next to be affected because I believe it's first in, first out, right? Whoever closes first gets out of the problem first, right? So I think we are pretty okay in India. That's why I was begging the CLE to act faster and close at least the shoe, the regions where these shoe factories are.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm betting big on India.
And would you be? I mean, do you think Indian manufacturers have the scale, the capacity?
I mean, it depends, right? If you get a little bit of help from the West, like what we've been doing for our manufacturers in India. If you saw Sara soles, we started with 20,000 pairs and we reached 800,000 pairs, right? So you can scale them up, but you need help from outside. And I think now with the West understanding how dependent they are on China, they will start helping India. Before it was a headache to come to India, right?
Sure.
But now even if it's a headache, they're going to come here and help.
Wonderful, Suresh. That's a great reassurance for the Indian manufacturers who are struggling otherwise for the exports, looks like. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Really appreciate it. I'm sure this feedback will go to the manufacturing fraternity wherever they are. Thank you so much. Okay.
That's a very confident note of yours. And definitely, the sentiments are quite positive towards India. I was sharing with you the other day, like when we had a conversation with the American Retailers Association, as well as the Italian guys, they all want to come to India as soon as this thing ends. And definitely, you guys have been pioneer in India, and you helped many factories. And I was also benefited at some point of time in my career. So I'm sure, with the West helping, the manufacturing, it's just a season. I think automated 21 onwards, it's going to be quite good for the manufacturing. That's what I would like to add.
Exactly, Mohan. You're dot on, because even we believe that, you'll need to burn money for the next 12 months. Then you'll probably stop burning money. Yeah, I mean, nobody's God here, but this is what we feel. And then if you sustain 18 months, I think you start making money. And then there's no stopping us. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
As I said, I need comfort footwear.
Okay.
I guess, Amit, I think then the key should be to make pointed comfort footwear for you.
Amit looks best in pointed footwear.
Yeah, like you said, you want to party from home, you'll want to show off your shoes also, right?
Absolutely.
or like Mr. Mahindra, you'll wear lungi from bottom down and wear a smart shirt on top.
Sirish, let's not forget that Amit Chopra is the brand ambassador of our industry. Huh? So let's not forget that. Huh? He's the brand icon. He's the icon. Huh?
All right. Thank you, everyone. I think.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you again, everyone.
I take a minute, please, if you're all there.
Yes, please.
Yeah, special thanks to Mr. Amit Chopra and Vikas Bagga, and especially you too, Bobo.
Yeah, thank you.
Great experience. Thank you for the effort you guys are doing for the industry.
Thank you so much.
Keep carrying on. We're proud of you guys. Thank you. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Bagga.
Well, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you
Stay
so much.
safe. Yeah. And stay connected.
Stay connected. We're going to be having more sessions. Please share feedback with us. We're going to be sharing the recording with everybody, the snippets. And if we have missed out on anything vital or pertinent, please sound us so that we can carry those pointers next time when we carry the session. There's certainly going to be one before the lockdown ends, which is before 3rd May, and maybe 1 or 2 once the lockdown sort of ends. So thank you so much. Thank you for time, effort, energy, and thank you for enthusiasm. Thank you so much. God bless. Stay fit, stay fine, stay at home. Thank you so much.